Hey there, this is lesson 10. It's all on adverbs. And most people think adverbs are only the words that modify verbs, but actually they do so much more, as you'll find out in this lesson. So we're going to go through the different exercises. I may stop you to do a little, mini lesson before the exercises, but here's how we're going to do it. The first the first exercise uses this do you see the one before the little rule here? The first bunch of activities do use the first rule, which is an adverb is a word that modifies a verb. We eat daily. Ricardo walked downtown. Carol did not understand. These are words that explain like when, to what extent, to where the action takes place. So we're going to move down. And I'd like you to complete activity 1, all 5 of them. You can see that you have to underline the adverb and then draw the arrow from the adverb to the verb it modifies. So pause your screen and do 1 through 5. After this, we're going to go to activity 2. Okay, here we are. Activity 2 asks you to underline each adverb. So please write out the adverb and then draw an arrow from the adverb to the verb it modifies. Some of them will have more than one, so it's getting a little bit more tricky here. In the samples A, you have tomorrow we will finish this lesson. Tomorrow is modifying the verb will finish. In this case, it just goes to the will. Letter B says Aaron always completes assignments neatly. There's 2 adverbs going on. Always and neatly both modify the verb completes. So, oops, there's all 10. So take your time on these, all right? There may be more than one in a lot of them. Okay? Join me a little bit further down the page because there's rule number 2 about what adverbs do. Okay, do you see the 2 before the rule up there? Yeah. Rule number 2, an adverb is a word that modifies an adjective. Maybe you had this back in grammar school, I don't know. But if you have a word that comes before an adjective describing, like to what extent, that is technically an adverb. So you see, Mom served extremely sweet tea. The word sweet is telling us what kind of tea, but extremely is the adverb that modifies the adjective sweet. The children were charmingly polite. Polite is our adjective describing children. How polite were they? Charmingly. So that's my adverb there. Lastly, that is a very nasty cut. Words like very, to, really, those things, those are considered adverbs, and they generally come directly before the adjective. In this case, nasty. What kind of how nasty was it? A very nasty cut. So you can see that adverbs do more than just simply modify verbs. Okay, we are moving on to activity 3 after this. Okay. Activity 3 has 10, and I would like you to do all 10 in the 10 activities, and I'm sorry, in the 10 questions. You want to underline each adverb and then draw an arrow from the adverb to the adjective it modifies. So let me bump it up a little bit. Here you go. So sample A, this surprisingly tasty bread is homemade. So surprisingly is our adverb modifying tasty, which then modifies bread. Letter B, in the sky hovered a perfectly round object. Perfectly is modifying the word round, which then modifies the object, the word object. Okay, I know it's confusing. Here is a rule that's about 90% true. Adverbs generally end in ly, but not all the time. So, like I said, it's almost always true, but not quite. So that might be a good rule of thumb to go by when you're trying to determine where is that adverb. Okay, you're going to do these 10. And so pause the screen, and we'll move on to activity 4 when you're done. Okay, activity 4 is at the bottom of your screen, but at the top of your screen is another rule. Do you see number 3? An adverb is a word that modifies another adverb. Just when you thought you understood them, then there's another little rule. Okay, so remember I just said words like to, really, very. Those are adverbs that can also modify another adverb. Look at the sample. You gave up too easily. To is my adverb that describes to how easily, right? To what extent was it easily given up? So to is an adverb that modifies the word easily, which is an adverb that modifies the verb gave up. Okay, it's confusing. I got that. Number 2, Jordan jogs fairly regularly. Okay, so the adverb fairly gives information about the adverb regularly, which then tells how regularly Jordan jogs. So if you're imagining these arrows, it's going to go bumping from fairly over to regularly and back to jogs. Example 3, Rosie very politely refused. The adverb very modifies the adverb politely. Again, look, ly ending. And then it all goes back to refused. Okay, so activity 4 has 5 questions on it. And it asks you to underline the 2 adverbs in each sentence and then draw an arrow from each of them to the word it modifies. So your arrows do kind of bounce around from one to the next to the next. Okay, pause your screen here. And we are going to do activity 5. Okay, activity 5, I just want you to do the odd numbers. 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. It's a little bit more time consuming. If you get it though, you get it. So here's how you get it. You want to explain why the italicized word is an adverb, because it is, but you can use 3 abbreviations that you see below. Verb as a V, adjective as an ADJ, or adverb as ADV period. The sample says soon the race will begin. So you have to fill in the blanks. Blank modifies the blank. Okay, the word soon modifies what? In this case, it's the verb will begin. Number 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 are to be done. And you're going to be pausing the screen to complete these. Now notice you have to have 3 things in the blank. You're going to be recreating the italicized word, and then in the second blank modifies the what, okay? The verb, the adjective, or the adverb, and then you got to tell me what the verb, adjective, adverb is. So take some time on this. If you get this, you're getting it, okay? If it comes easily to you at the end, then I really think you've mastered this whole thing about adverbs. So pause your screen, and the next activity is 7. This screen just shows that most of them are formed by adding ly. Don't forget to change the spelling. And if it ends in IC, like the word basic, specific, you have to add AL before adding the ly. And if an adjective ends in Y, you got to change that Y to I and then add ly, as you see for merry and funny. Finally, if an adjective ends in LE, do not add ly, just change the LE to ly, as you see for gentle and terrible. Skipping 6, move on to 7. And you're going to do 1 through 10 odd numbers only. So activity 7, for each of the sentences, let me see if I can fit it, yep. What adverb can you use to express the italicized thought concisely? So they want you to write out the adverb. So these are just one-word answers, but make sure they're spelled correctly. That's really key. The firefighter worked like a heroic person, so my adverb naturally is heroically. Check the spelling, A-L-L-Y. Letter B, the herd moved at a rapid pace, rapidly, R-A-P-I-D-L-Y. 1 through 10 odd numbers only. So pause your screen, complete those, and we are moving on to activity 8, which is our last one for this lesson. In activity 8, we're going to do all 10. They want you to, again, use arrows going from the italicized word, so writing it out, to the word it modifies. So If the italicized word is used as an adjective, write adj. If it's used as an adverb, write adv. This is really going to see if you've gotten the lesson correctly. So let's look at the samples. Letter A says the dart fell short of the dartboard. Okay, italicized word short, and it goes back to fell. This is a plain adverb. However, look at letter B. Sporty, fast cars fascinate me. So the word fast is used as an adjective, modifying the noun cars. Okay, so if you're understanding this, you're able to discern between an adjective and an adverb, writing out the correct abbreviation on the line. So for activity 8, you want to do all 10. Let me just bump it down a little bit. And now you see all 10 there. So it's really just abbreviations of what the italicized word is being modified by. What is it? Is it going to be an adverb or an adjective? Okay, so good luck on those, and I will see you in class.